Hello, thank you for tuning in. Stuart, the Unrepentant Atheist, and in this video I've got an anecdote, something which happened today, which I thought might be of interest to you. So something a little bit different, which possibly only my subscribers will be interested in. I went into Glasgow today in Scotland, so yeah, I live in Scotland. And basically I met up with somebody, and after that meeting was concluded, I took a route back to the railway station. While I was walking, it started to rain. Now, I hadn't brought my umbrella because the forecast said sunshine all the way through the afternoon. But, forecast and order was correct. While I was walking, I suddenly saw a mosque. So I just went to have a look at the mosque. There was a big poster on the outside of it. And I saw that there was a web address which said True Islam on it, and there was also a slogan indicating that the Messiah has arrived. Well, this sort of amused me a little bit, and I remembered it. I've actually videoed it as well. I'm possibly going to include this video in a collection of other videos that I make when I'm out and around and I see something of any interest relating to religion. But so yes, so I looked at this and I thought, this is amusing. The Messiah has arrived. Better not tell the Christians, otherwise they'll be looking for Jesus. But no. So I walked on, kept walking. The rain was gradually getting worse, and I was wearing my spring coat, and it's not very waterproof. And I was looking for shelter. Well, I happened to be walking past a church, a Christian church, of course, and there was an archway, and I thought to myself, I'll dash into that archway and just stand there until the rain stops. So I dashed into the archway, and I stood. After about, 30 seconds, there's a door in this archway, a red door, a sort of two doors, and one of the doors opened outwards, and a man came out. He looked like he was about mid-40s, late 40s possibly, and he looked at me. He said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were somebody else. I just saw on the CCTV that somebody had arrived, and I'm expecting some people." And I said, "Oh, I'm just, it's started raining, so I'm just sheltering here." And he said, "Oh, yes, indeed. You're welcome." And I sort of joked to him, it started raining, I haven't got an umbrella, but thankfully the Lord provided. I don't know why I said that. It just, just some silly quip, which seemed appropriate to me in the time. He seemed to be in fairly good humor, and he stood there and we got into conversation. Now, it's not my policy to go around when I'm out and about being an atheist. I tend to keep it to myself, and unless I'm asked about my religious beliefs, I never say anything. And the fact that I was standing there with a Christian, well, I found out that he was actually the minister for this Church of Scotland. One amusing thing, actually, he was an Englishman, which kind of amused me. As I said to him, "You're a Church of Scotland minister, and yet you're English." I didn't realize, it's quite surprising to me. And he said, "Oh, well, I've lived in Scotland since 1995. And well, we got into some small talk, but I mentioned the mosque around the corner. So I said, "Oh, you realize the Messiah's arrived, don't you?" And he said, "Really?" I said, "Yes, there's a mosque around the corner." He said, "Oh." And I told him about, the Messiah is here. And he chuckled a bit, and he said, "Oh, yes, we know about we know about that mosque." And he said, of course, the Messiah in Islam is not the same as the Messiah in Christianity. And he explained some things about Islam that I didn't know before. And he said, their Messiah is not divine, and our Messiah is. I said, "Oh, yes." Well, he said to me that that particular sect of Islam has upset a lot of Muslims. You know, they have disagreements too. Of course they do, just like Christianity. And I said, well, I noticed that the web address says True Islam. He said, yes. He said, that's the name of the sect. And then he commented, it's a red flag to me whenever I see religions claiming to be the true religion. And then I said to him, well, I said the whole nature of religion and the fact there are so many religions is that all religions believe that they're the true religion, wouldn't you say? And he said, well, yeah. He said, that's true, but he said when you actually have it as your name, it denotes that there's some lack of tolerance, because we've all got our own beliefs, and we have to sort of live with each other. And when you're openly proclaiming that you're the one true religion so overtly, it can be a bit dangerous. Well, at that point, I decided to move the conversation away from religion. He seemed like a very nice person, and I was actually enjoying talking to him. We were talking about Glasgow, how it's changed over the years, and various other. Some of it was small talk, but he seemed to me like too nice a man to fall out with over religion. And had he asked me my religious beliefs, of course I would have told him. And I would have said to him, I would have just said, oh, well, actually, I'm not a believer at all. I'm an atheist. So, and I would have just sort of left it at that. And then he obviously would have said what he wanted to say. But I didn't get the impression that he had any interest in just having a theological discussion with me. And as I said, he was too nice a man for me to bring it up overtly. Of course, there are plenty of things I could have said to him. I could have said, tell me, you're a Christian. In your view, what is going to happen to all Muslims when they die? I didn't want to go down that route. I had a good chat with him. Some other Christians started arriving. And eventually the rain stopped, and I wished him a good day. Said I'd enjoyed talking to him, and maybe I'll see him again sometime, and we parted on good terms. So I hope nobody out there that's listening to this, obviously because you know that I'm a fairly hard-nosed atheist. I mock Christianity a lot, and I'm very critical of religion, but I felt that in the context of that situation, I did the right thing. I didn't bring up my atheism. I didn't challenge him at all, and I'm glad that I didn't, because one thing that I did feel sad about is the fact that religion really does divide, because I imagine that it would be very difficult for me to enter into a friendship with a Christian minister, because sooner or later my atheism and our differences in religion would divide us to quite an extent, and possibly lead to quite unpleasant conversations. So I feel kind of sad about that, but it illustrates how religion does divide and sort of keeps people apart. You've got so many sects, and you've got so many denominations claiming that they've got the truth. People are bound to fall out, and it's quite difficult to be friends under those circumstances. Okay, well, that's all I've got to say. Let me know what you think of that. Would you have done the same as me? In other words, you might be as hard-nosed atheist as I am. Would you have kept your atheism to yourself and just maintained a pleasant conversation and gone peacefully like I did? Or would you have tried to draw him on religion and maybe expand the discussion out into something that could potentially get unpleasant? That's all for now. Let me know what you think. I'll be back again with another video soon. Bye for now.